What's up guys, Luke Deutschlander here with another video. If y'all like my videos, make sure you like, share, and subscribe and drop a comment down below. Today's video we're going to be talking about, is it okay to buy iCloud locked or blacklisted smartphones? I've actually got a little bit different take on this than probably most people out there, and I got a couple reasons and I'm going to share them with you right now. So first off, is it okay at face value to buy an iCloud locked phone? Absolutely not. But if you ask somebody, why do you have this iCloud locked device? There's a couple different scenarios where I personally have been okay with buying an iCloud locked phone, given they do provide a full bill of sale and their story makes sense. So one, the crazy ex-boyfriend or crazy ex-girlfriend scenario. So I've personally actually had this happen to me before, and that's why I know that it's a legitimate story. Basically, example, boyfriend, girlfriend were on, one or another's phone plan, and let's say girlfriend was paying for both phone lines, and boyfriend gives phone back to girlfriend but won't remove his iCloud account from the phone. Now, of course, the carrier, let's say AT&T, an example, will not help the person with this. Apple will not help them with this either. And so for that reason being, it's very hard for girlfriend to get the iCloud account removed from the phone due to the fact that crazy ex-boyfriend will not remove his iCloud in order to get revenge on the girlfriend. This can go either way, not just singling out guys here. It could be a guy paying for both lines, and girl could do the same thing to the guy. I've had this happen in multiple situations, and in this kind of situation, I have made the executive decision to buy the iCloud locked device due to the fact that the story was completely legitimate and the person had no problem filling out a bill of sale and providing their ID and a contact phone number also. I usually go a step further with that. I usually grab a contact phone number for the person along with their ID in case there is any problems with it. So that being said, when it comes to iCloud locked devices, you really have to use your discretion. Now, if somebody just says, oh, I found it, or, I don't know, I found it in a parking lot, or, well, it was my bro's, but he owed me some... No. Anything other than the fact that a significant other getting revenge against somebody, or perhaps a family member that would not remove their iCloud locked device, or something like that, anything for non-payment, it only makes sense for somebody to not want to remove their account, because typically when people are problematic and they don't want to remove their accounts from a device, kind of like the same thing when you have to kick somebody out who doesn't know how to pay their rent, those people are always problematic, and so it's a believable story when a problematic person will not remove their iCloud from a phone. So in these kind of situations, I recommend that you use your best judgment, and that if you want to purchase an iCloud locked phone, go ahead. But make sure you get a bill of sale, make sure you get a contact phone number, and make sure the story the person is telling you is completely legitimate. Do not be out there advertising for iCloud locked devices. Don't be out there advertising for iCloud locked devices, no matter the condition, no matter the story, etc. And like I said, for the love of God, if somebody comes to you and just says, oh, I found this device, or I found these two phones, or, I grabbed them from somebody, don't be buying those, because those are basically stolen phones, and that's not something you want to be dealing with anyways, and you really don't want to be known for that in business either. So that being said, there's another situation that can come across which is kind of unfortunate, and this one is a little more gray, but I kind of believe in doing the right or good, or I guess the bigger, it's kind of like looking at the bigger good of things. And basically there's a situation where you may have a customer come to you and they purchase an iCloud locked device, and they'll let you know that they purchased it off Craigslist. They're just an average consumer. They didn't know any better. They purchased it off Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or a Facebook group. Let's say maybe it's a single dad, single mom, or maybe it's a husband and wife, and they're like, yeah, I picked up this iPhone 7 Plus on Craigslist. The guy said it was good and everything. The phone looked like it was in really good condition, and when me and my wife got it home, there was an iCloud on it, and we bought this for our kid. This is all the money we had. What can you do for us, Luke? So here's the thing. So that iCloud locked device obviously is never ever going to be getting back to its original owner. And the way that I look at this is, you need to get a bill of sale, you need to get a phone number, and you need to write the person's story down too. And like I said, get the phone number, get that contact information. But the way I see this is, one, the original owner is long gone. Two, who knows how many times poor people have been scammed due to this fact. Now, the really sad thing is obviously people like this that contact you are trying to get rid of the phone because they want to get their money back and they've been victimized. The worst thing that can happen is when a scammer sells an iCloud locked device locally and then they end up selling it to somebody else that gets ticked off, then those people then repeat the cycle. It's almost like abuse, with a phone. The iCloud locked phone basically works as a scamming device where one scammer sells it to the next person, that guy gets ticked off, then he sells it to somebody else, that person gets ticked off, then they sell it to somebody else, and the scam just keeps going on and on and on and on and on, and everybody just keeps losing money. So that being said, if I hear this kind of situation where somebody's in a very bad situation where they got ripped off, I will usually purchase the device due to the fact that the story is completely legitimate, they are providing a complete bill of sale, and they are providing their ID and their phone number. And at this point in time, since the original owner is obviously way past 30 days and not making any effort to recover that phone, I would say go ahead and buy it. And, I don't think you're going to have any issues with that. I personally never had any issues. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend selling these on eBay. I'd recommend selling them to a direct buyer or somebody who's purposely looking for a phone that, basically is for parts. Now, there is one situation, no matter what story comes across, where I would not buy an iCloud locked device, and that's where if the phone connects to Wi-Fi and it says iPhone lost, please return to owner, or it displays a phone carrier number, in that circumstance, or if Find My iPhone is beeping when you turn this phone on, do not buy that phone, because this phone is not only lost, but the owner is actively trying to find the phone. And in this kind of situation, doesn't matter what the story is, even if it sounds legitimate, I would never ever buy it. And if I did buy it, I would actually call the carrier and try and attempt to get a hold of the original owner if I purchased it by mistake. That's never happened to me before, but there has been situations where somebody's tried to sell me an iCloud locked device. I turn the phone on in a public place where Wi-Fi, the phone starts beeping. And at that point, I know that this phone is probably recently either stolen or it's lost, and the original owner is still actively trying to find it. And if you know that, then do the right thing, do not purchase it, and advise the seller to return it back to the original owner. So those are kind of three situations basically where I would and then possibly wouldn't purchase an iCloud locked device. Now going on to blacklisted devices. So there's two different things. So bad ESN and blacklisted, they're absolutely two different things. Bad ESN means the phone basically did not get paid for, it's financed, it's got a balance owed, the carrier banned it from the network. But a blacklisted phone typically means that the phone was stolen. So do not be buying blacklisted phones. If you run an IMEI check on a phone and it says blacklisted, that is not something that you want to buy. Not to mention, there's bigger repercussions than just buying a blacklisted phone besides the morality of it. If you try and sell a blacklisted and an iCloud locked phone, like let's say it's iCloud locked and it's blacklisted, if you try selling that online on eBay, chances are eBay is going to ban your seller account. And obviously that's going to reap that's going to wreak havoc on you, especially if you're a big eBay seller. You can't have one bridge or one platform be burned out, especially eBay. eBay is a huge platform for buying and selling smartphones and electronics. You never ever want to burn that bridge with eBay or PayPal. Not to mention, selling blacklisted phones or iCloud locked phones kind of opens you up to returns due to the fact that since it's against eBay policy to sell these devices, when people buy these, sometimes buyers actually try and scam you, even though you're not supposed to necessarily be selling it, being it's against eBay policy. They will use this to their advantage by purchasing it, even though they know it's iCloud locked. Then, about 2 days before your return policy is up, they'll submit a case to eBay saying, the phone's iCloud locked. eBay will honor the case in their favor due to the fact that it's against eBay policy in the first place to even be selling iCloud locked phones, and sometimes eBay will just let them keep the device. So if you pay $400 or $500 for an iPhone X or an iPhone XS Max that's iCloud locked, you could be out some pretty big money, which is why I don't recommend selling any iCloud locked devices online on any selling platform unless it's directly to a buyer or somebody who needs parts. And even then, you need to be very, very, very cautious on what you accept. You need to get a bill of sale and you need to get a phone number also. That way, if you do have any kind of problems with the device, you can show proof that you did your due diligence, checked it out, it didn't show up stolen, it just showed that there was an iCloud left on it, and here is the story, here's the circumstances, and you have the previous owner's contact information, which pretty much takes all the legality, etc., off of your hands. Now, I do want to talk quick about one story where this did happen to me. I purchased an iPad, this is about 4 years ago, purchased an iPad that had somebody's iCloud left on it. And I was newer to kind of selling at that time. It was probably about 5 years ago. And I don't know, it was late at night, I purchased an iPad, and it had an iCloud on it. And I paid a really good price for it, so it really didn't matter. I was still going to make a profit, but I never really wanted to buy somebody's iPad with an iCloud lock on it. Crazy thing is, I'm looking through the contacts in this iPad, and I see that the contacts are from a different state. So I'm looking through the contacts, I'm like, maybe this iPad's stolen. So I end up taking my cell phone, I called one of the numbers out of the iPad. Sure enough, this iPad came from like 3 states away, and crazy enough, it was stolen out of somebody's car, brought back here to Wisconsin, and then they randomly sold it to me. Who would have thought? So I ended up talking to the police, told them the situation. They confiscated the iPad. They worked with me to identify the seller. We got them, and then basically what happened is I gave the iPad back. I was in absolutely no trouble at all. The person who sold the iPad to me got charged with theft, and then I also got granted restitution of $160. I mean, it wasn't that much, but they did grant a restitution charge, which means the person's going to basically be paying me back for the stolen property that they sold to me, being they victimized me. And then also, you know, the stolen iPad probably was returned to the original owner. So kind of interesting. So like I said, when people say, oh, you know, don't do this, don't do that, I've actually been on all sides of the spectrum. I know exactly what happens when you wrongfully purchase an iCloud locked device. Like I said, if you are out there advertising for them and you're out there buying every single kind of iCloud locked device, don't be doing that. There are certain situations where you can make a judgment call, like I personally said earlier in the video, but just don't be out there looking for iCloud locked and blacklisted devices. I don't really recommend it. As I said earlier, there is certain circumstances where you can make a decision for yourself or a moral decision on what's right or what's wrong, or based on the person's situation, if you're going to try and help them out, and then get the appropriate contact information in case there is any repercussions from the item that you buy. So that being said, this is a highly debated topic. I hope this helps some of you out. Hope it opens up your minds and gets you thinking about stuff. Also, super happy as of today. I'm majorly reorganizing my office. I'm sure you can see that all the trim is finally up in my office. I'm super excited. So it just took forever to get somebody out here. Unfortunately, in Wisconsin, the last 3 days, we have gotten 36 inches of snow. It's terrible. Last week, we had no snow on the ground. Now we're back to 36 inches of snow. It's terrible. It's cold. I've got a jacket on again. It's not a lot of fun. But hey, it's the Midwest. What can you do? So anyhow, thanks for watching this video. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.